All right, you guys, you know what time is it? It's 10 p.m. Welcome to the Midnight Run. It's me, it's that VINCE. And folks, as usual, we're going to have a lot of fun. Feel free to ask questions, whether you want to give for miracles to live. So I'm going to tell you guys right now what I'm drinking for this Saturday night. Now, my earlier video this morning, of course, I had a whiskey stiffened coffee there with a little, tequila stiffened coffee because, you know, we run low on money. So I have the same thing, tequila stiffened, espresso coffee. I got it in my container. And I actually made an Aztec coffee. Now, the way you make an Aztec coffee is you take a little bit of milk, you add a little cinnamon, and you add a little bit of cayenne pepper. It's a great drink. So that's what we're going to have tonight. We got our water. And the cigar tonight is going to be a Gilberto Oliva Reserve. Well aged. I've had it in the humidor for about a couple months. Now, these are unusual because this one actually has an Indonesian wrapper on it there with Nicaraguan long filler. So it's going to be a very good smoke. It's above 90 points for this here. So first thing I need to get out of the way, as far as the Blaha situation, you guys have been asking me about it. I told you I would go to my attorneys there. And basically they said, you already know the answer to this. Are you crazy? So what I'll probably end up having to do is I'll give a call back to Jen probably Monday or Tuesday and see if she'll allow me to release the information or provide new information. That's going to be the best I can do as far as that situation is concerned. Because the video right there pretty much right now is dead weight, folks. Okay? So, is it purple flame time? Yes, it is indeed. So, let's go ahead and get lit up And then we're going to light up and ask some questions here, or at least you guys are. So, first we're going to give it a little toast. Now, folks, I never told y'all how I light my cigars. The first thing you need to do is you need to give it a little bit of toast. Don't hold that lighter to this here. You just simply toast it, all right? Give it a good toast, then of course, you want to make sure that you get your even burn, so now we are ready to go. That's how you actually light a lighter. Don't do like Big Trips does, and because, you know, that's not the right way to do it. So, that's how you got to do it. You got to have a man's lighter, you know. You can't have them one of them little tiny cheap plastic cigar lighters. See, my lighter is big. It'll set a school on fire, and it has a cigar punch if I want to use it. But folks, when it comes to cutters, the best cutter that's around is a Vertigo cutter. A nice good V-cut always makes for a great cigar. So let's get started with the questions here. Do cigars get you high like weed and cigarettes? No, it doesn't there. Cigars are very relaxing. Of course, you don't, unlike weed and cigarettes, you do not inhale cigars here. And the way the nicotine gets to you is in the linings here of your mouth there, in other words here. And it's also the aroma and everything. So you have a inhale and then you have a retrohale. And right now there's bits of chocolate and spice there. On the retrohale is a little bit of honey there. So that's generally the way cigars. If you really want to know, you just got to simply pick up a cigar and try one for yourself. Do I think Blaha is closeted? Well, considering the fact that he's pegged, there has to be a little bit of homosexuality behind that there. I'm just keeping it real and telling it to you like it is. Yes, Chicken Boy, I was in Big Lenny's chat yesterday. I thought I'd drop in and say hey. What is my height and weight? I am 5'11". Right now I'm about 240 pounds. And yes, I am a lot leaner. Like I said, I've been doing a lot of cardio. One thing about not working at a very stressful job, I have more time to work out. And other than today, pretty much, I just rarely drink at this point. I'm doing what's called a drink down, to where I'm going to, eventually I got like 2 bottles left other than the tequila, and then that's going to be it. I'll just keep 1 bottle of stuff around. Probably some Virgil Cane ginger bourbon, and that's it. No, Dusty, you don't have to cut it off the end of a cigar. And you have to be really careful, because you would only want to cut the end off of a cigar if it has long filler. I've seen people get some cheap cigars and then they cut the top off, and then all the tobacco spills all over because, a Cuban sandwich has short filler in it, so it'll spring all over the place. Me personally, I like a V cutter instead. I like having a V cut, I think it I think it's perfect for not only regular cigars, but for mostly big cigars. So, can you folks see me fine, or is it locking up or so? All right, we may be having a little bit of camera issues here, so I'm gonna check on this and see what's going on. Yeah, I noticed that, Chicken Boy. Think YouTube is having a couple of issues here. Okay. Yeah, I'm seeing the intermittent stuttering too here. Give me just a minute. Let me see what's going on. Yeah, it was doing that earlier. That's why I always take about 10 minutes. I come on before in 10 minutes, and I actually come on and check everything. And I did notice that it was locking up. So hopefully, if it still continues to do that, I may hook up onto another connection or so. As far as let me go back here. Missed a couple of questions here. Hopefully that's a little bit fixed now. Like I said, I may have to switch to another connection. I don't think it's a connection. I think it's actually just YouTube right now, because it's been doing that all day. But let's see here. Andy, that's a little too much alcohol. Remember, you have to drink in moderation there. It's supposed to relax you. But if you get to the point to where you have to be stumbling around, then that's not a good thing. Cut down on the alcohol. Just cut it off tonight. If you were at a bar and I was serving you, I would have cut you off by now. Serratus, I've not spoken to Billy Guns in about 4 years. He's pretty much done with bodybuilding. He's out of the bodybuilding industry. So you're probably not going to see him again or so. Yeah, Blaha's been pegged. We know that there, and but it seems as though a lot of these YouTube people are doing that for donations. Richard is doing that for on OnlyFans. Frank Tofano has stuck things up their ass and stuff like that. I don't get these kids these days. If I was going to stick something up my ass, you people wouldn't hear about it, but I don't stick things up my ass or anything. Quick, I don't like, I'm not big into marijuana, actually. I've always liked the good old fashioned, cigar. I'm old school. Remember, folks, I'm not in my 20s. I'm 45 years old. What do I think of dark beer? I love Guinnesses. They're a nice dark stout with burger and fries. You can't beat that whatsoever. Either that or I'll actually have a Corona. Would I ever go live with Lenny? Yeah, I'll probably go live with him one of these days. Good question, Chicken Boy, on the J Masters Lenny drama. How many times have we seen this here? There's always drama between J Masters and Big Lenny. Always. I mean, it's always been that way. So have I heard about a certain powerlifting chicken? I have no clue. You have to be more specific there. I mean, I've not ran across any powerlifting chicken there. So, oh, Georgia beat down of South Carolina. Yeah. Well, some days you got it, and some days you don't. There, it was a pretty decent game there. I mean, you know, yeah, the pose down was legendary. It's yeah, I'm probably going to be the only non-professional bodybuilder that has ever posed, did a guest posing at the Mr. Olympia. So, I wonder if that'll get me into Guinness's Book of World Records. Yeah, there's plenty of 70-year-old grandmas that do smoke weed or so forth. Just not me there. It's just not going to be me. Yeah, that's good there, Andy. But again, even if it's once a week or so, you got to be mindful of that. Rather be nameless. The Delray Misfits have always been together. You know, they'll have their ins and outs here. I think they did a podcast not too long ago. Oh, J Masters dressed up. Oh, you're talking about that. Yeah, I heard about that there, but you guys got to remember, this is high school, and in high school, you know, especially during that time, you can do some crazy things, including myself. I've done a lot worse as far as dressing up is concerned, other than a chicken costume. But maybe I'll tell you guys a story one of these days. But you know, it's just very embarrassing. Sean Ray wouldn't be my type because we're related, actually. Uh, uh, let's see. Jay Masters is fond of van life. Well, if he is fond of it, I mean, he lives in he drives an 18 wheeler. So, you know, between driving and living in an 18 wheeler, you know, there's not too big of a turnaround when it comes to that. Serratus, GH15 is still around. He's around and he's still selling. So, Chicken Boy, I mean, I got some good lifts here. The most I've ever benched, I never hit 400, but I hit about 390 one time there, or excuse me, 395. That was for 2 reps, but it's been a very long time since I've done anything. I just do 225 at this point in time. Squat rise, yeah, I've done 500 before. But this is at a time when I was taking steroids here. After I got off of that, you know, my lifts went all the shit, basically. When it comes to steroids, you can do pretty much anything, especially when you're young and you're taking them. Hmm. This is one good cigar. Dusty, I actually sell gymnastic rings. It really all depends on what you got it hooked up to. But honestly, you don't really need anything too fancy. As far as to, you know, the whole key is, you don't even need weights or anything. You can do push-ups and sit-ups, and you can do dynamic tension exercises without weights or so forth. But, you know, you have to make sure that you have some variety and that you have the ability to make it very comfortable for you there. Hmm. No, quick, not always. I had taken steroids back in the late 90s. Stopped taking them in 2001. Really bad side effects there. Unfortunately, I didn't take them up to the point where, because I did cycles in between times there, my natural testosterone never cut off. That's pretty fancy, Serratus. Would I rather have Lenny or Jay Masters living with you? If I had a choice, I think Jay Masters would be slightly more hygienic there. Lenny, I mean, Jay Masters having a racist around as opposed to having dirt. I'll take racism over dirt, in other words, here. You know. Guys, and I'd recommend going to a regular gym. Playgrounds are for children, you know. And if you start working out in a playground, you might get some people that may think a little differently of you. Either that or parents are going to yell at you to get off of it. Thoughts on lifters that stay on gear past 40 to keep their size? Well, some people are going to, after the age of 40, are going to need to stay on gear for the rest of their lives because they've taken so much steroids that it's literally cut off their natural testosterone production. So, essentially put, you know, there's a lot of people that are on gear, not intentionally, but purposefully because, you know, their body no longer produces testosterone. Well, that's not exactly right. Calisthenics, you can keep in the shape there, but you lose a lot of variety. But you can't compare it to a gym itself. You know, a gym is a gym. You know, keeping in shape is one thing, but if you want to improve your physique, get bigger, you need to lift heavy weights. That's something that you cannot do with calisthenics. Kaizen, if Lenny is recommending Jay to take anabolics and insulin, definitely not a good idea. Well, Andy, anyone that passes away, whether I like them or not, there, you know, I am going to give a level of respect there whatsoever. So you always have to be respectful when someone passes away. I mean, you'll have left wing people that'll come out there and throw her under the bus and stuff like that and get a good opportunity to, you know, take some pot shots at people, you know. That's not a good thing, folks. How did my date go? It went okay. You know, I did what I needed to do, you know. Uh, but you know, since I work so much there, you know, dating is not something I have to do that I'm able to do very often there. So I'm a very busy person, even busier now than I used to be because I have to get the business developed there if I'm going to pay bills, of course. So. But right now, I'm doing actually kind of fine. Next week, I'll go over a couple of my businesses that I actually do because I want you guys to know what I actually do during the daytime. Because, like I said before, my income is not dependent upon on YouTube, and I don't have an OnlyFans or anything. I do mostly marketing and running businesses throughout the week. No, Rich Piata's test levels were long gone. Long before you ever heard of Rich Piata. And I remember Rich competing. He wasn't a very good competitor at that time, but his natural test levels were gone. I mean, back in early 2000. No, Fernandez, the Blaha mints are not over. They're just beginning. You'll find out. Yes, half dollar. COVID affected a lot of physiques there, but you always have muscle memory. So, yeah, it's going to rebound itself. What are my favorite cigars to buy in bulk? I like the Cigar International's knockoffs. That's my daily smoke there. They're hand rolled Dominican cigars, or you can get the Cigars International freshly rolled Cuban wheels. The only downside, I mean, of those is you gotta buy. They come in packs of 40, which is good. So you have to make sure that you have a humidor that can store that many cigars. I mean, I used to buy Perdomo Frescos in bulk when I was still working at Verizon. But like I said, I've had to shrink down, not only because there's less money coming in and I'm putting more money towards my business, but simply put, I'm actually smoking a lot less. Definitely drinking a lot less because I have less stress there. Well, Chicken Boy, I've dated this person before, so when it comes to dates, I don't think about smashing. I think about just having fun, watching movies, going out on a dinner, having good conversation and everything. If all I wanted to do is smash, I would get myself a grinder account or something. So you shouldn't go on a date just to smash, really. You really need to get to know people before you even do that there. Don't, I mean, when it comes to dating, uh, you got to be yourself. Be a gentleman, folks. Be a gentleman. Going on a date just for the purpose of having sex is just weird. It's not a good thing. You know, I see all these sites like Tinder and stuff like that where it's swiping. Sex these days is almost like ordering a pizza there. And so don't get caught up in that type of mess here. Rather be nameless. Yep, I know what you're talking about there. And for those that try to stay on juice, they're not around for too long. I mean, as we've seen over the past 20 to 30 years when someone tries to stay massive even when they're older. Andy, I appreciate that. If you're ever down in Greenville, South Carolina, just hit me up. We'll go down to freaking uh, there's Ray's Whiskey Bar. There's a number of places there that I like to go to there. You know, there's Up on the Roof and stuff. Great places there. But we're not going to be taking long hot showers in the wee hours of the morning. Did I know Rich Piata personally? I met him before he got famous, but I didn't know him personally. Andy, you're right. COVID has passed there, but I'm not aware of any restrictions here in the U.S. Unless you live in Canada, I'm not familiar with Canadian or foreign politics. As far as the U.S. is concerned, it's long past. I live in South Carolina, so there was never really any real instructions, any real restrictions or anything like that. Just for only a couple of months there, and pretty much everything else opened up. So, uh, I live in a conservative state, so I never had that type of problem. Dusty, I would have to check my site as far as to what I sell them for. I sell full gymnastic sets. You can go to calibergym.com. Calibergym.com takes you to my gym supply website, actually. Let me type that down here. There we go. Yeah, sexual promiscuity. Kids these days don't realize that the things that they do now can affect their future. There, you have a lot of these teenage moms and stuff like that that they think with their dick before they think with their other head, which is this here. And once you get someone pregnant, there, you're responsible for that kid for the next 18 years, at least in terms of taking care of them. So that's like just a couple of minutes of fun. You have you have an 18-year sentence here. Now, kids are always a good thing, but there's always a such thing. It's always important to plan any type of parenthood. Oh, you are, Andy? Well, hopefully, if you ever come visit the States, actually, chances are I'll probably visit you before I come over here, because I will go to Europe sometime, probably next year or so forth. Uh, I do have some places I want to go there in Europe, so I've been meaning to do so. Things are going to be a little bit different now that I'm no longer working at Verizon or so forth, but you'll probably see me in Europe next year, or at least I'll be around. So, Chicken Boy, if conservative Cuban said that, I didn't say he sounded like a Sesame Street character. I said he looked like a Sesame Street character, which is Bert. Garrett, what do I like about bodybuilding competitors and what division? I've always been, I was always big in men's bodybuilding. And when I grew up there, you always look, I had a subscription to Flex magazine, not muscular development, because at that time it was all natural muscular development and stuff like that. But, you look in there and, you see people like Sean Ray and, Lee Lambrada. I may be mispronouncing things wrong. That's tequila, people. Tequila will get you. So, I mean, when it comes to bodybuilding, that's something you grew up with there. It was a lot better when, before all this internet age where everything is just accessible there. You would wait for your month subscription to see the new pictures and stuff like that, since there wasn't really any internet websites here. So, when you check your mailbox and you see that new issue, it's a very exciting thing. But I've never been into the bikini. I've always been in the women's fitness there, to where they're actually doing acrobatics and stuff like that. But all this other stuff, bikini class, that's just not my thing. Athens, you're going to need to be a little bit more specific on that. No, I won't be hunting Euro Twinks. I'll be doing business when I do come down to, when I go to Europe. It's good to have a home gym there. You just have to take a stock at how many square feet you actually have. And from there, you're going to you'll be able to decide what equipment you can fit in there. Don't try to cram everything in there. So, Chicken Boy, I'll have to watch the video itself there, but I think in terms of of grace and favor, I think I went out as opposed to this conservative Cuban. So, maybe Kaizen. As far as Brad being Oscar the Grouch, there he does need to cheer up a little bit. Well, Dusty, like I said, you gotta measure out your space there. Yeah, I know. I mean, that's one thing about Europe I'm excited. I mean, I'll be looking forward to. I'll be able to catch a train and I can go anywhere. Yeah, in the US there are trains and stuff like that, but here in America we just love our cars. Well, Exploring Angel, you have to remember a long time ago, back in the 70s, Iran and Iraq were no different than the United States in terms of freedom. And, I think people are wanting the things to go back the way it used to be. But Iran, back in before the early 80s or so forth, it was just as modern as the United States here. In fact, if you went over to Iran or Iraq back in the 70s or so forth and you looked at the style of dress, it would be no different than the dress in the United States. Do prison guards ever beat up inmates over vendettas? Yes, absolutely. Uh, that's just part of things there. But remember, you can get into a lot of trouble. It's going to be less prevalent there because now you have video cameras and stuff. Uh, in my time, there were video cameras, but they were kind of fuzzy. But I never whooped an inmate's ass that didn't deserve it or one that didn't attack me or so forth. There, don't start nothing, won't be nothing. uh. Yes, Fernandez, I agree. Anyone that has a squat rack in their living room or bedroom definitely has loose marbles there. Uh, like I said, regardless as to whether you're doing it as an income like Richard or Blaha's concerned, I mean, it's completely nuts to have a squat rack in the living room. It's pretty easy just to get like a 2-bedroom apartment and just keep all your equipment there, or just get a bigger house, or simply not have one at all. Yeah, Chud, I remember Genova smoking a cigar and inhaling it there. I thought he was almost going to kill himself here. I've been to a tier concert there, $50. I've not been at a Ramstein for obvious reasons here, so. What all do I sell on my website? I still maintain a metaphysical website, one that I started with my ex-husband. I mostly sell medical equipment there at caliberfitness.com, which is Caliber Fitness and Medical, and Budget Medical Supply at budgetmedicalsupply.com. But I mostly sell medical equipment. I don't sell as much gym equipment as I used to. But I do have my Body Solid account back, so I'll sell that. But lately, exercise equipment has not really been a good seller. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't really speak with Adam McLeod too much there. I've not spoken with him in a while there, and it was just casual conversation there. Yes, I'm familiar with the UK. Most places do have free health care or so forth. That's something we really need in this country. We pay enough taxes after all. Exploring Angel, there. Eventually, the Islamic State's going to be removed and it's going to go back to the way it is there. Simply because people miss those good times there. They're tired. People are tired of cars blowing up and stuff like that. Serratus, I can actually play the trumpet. I played the trumpet in high school, actually. So, yes, I can play a trumpet. Yes, I've been in a lot of mosh pits. I have a buddy, Sam, back in high school. And, with my ex-husband, he was big into heavy metal and stuff like that. So whenever we went out to a concert, yeah, I was in the mosh pit and stuff. So Richard's already been seriously injured numerous times. So unless he does change and gets rested up, I mean, if I was rolling dice there, I would hit all sevens with him getting injured again. The thing is, I certainly hope he doesn't get injured. No, I mean, at no point in time am I going to wish for someone to get injured or so forth. So it's very important for him to, take it easy with the weights. But before even doing that, he needs to work on his mental health there. Because obviously the pills are not actually working for him there. So. Dusty, it's like I said before, if you want a lat pull down machine, just make sure that you have enough space as well as ceiling height for that. So, not sure why they blocked your comment. Let's go ahead and reveal it. McCluck, even I've been lost in my life before there. Everyone gets lost at some point in time there, and they have to go find themselves. I've not been working anymore. I've done the same job for over 6 years, so even I have to go find myself now that I'm no longer working at Verizon. Because remember, I've done that very same job for like 6 years. I worked at Alltel for 5 years. I've been in the telecommunications industry on and off for so long, and stuff. So it's been a month since I've been out of it there. So, even at 45, I got to go find myself and I got to figure out what I want to do with the rest of my life. I think I'm doing just fine with running sites, but, I do need to do something else here or so forth or continue what I'm doing. But even with that, I'll have to, I just have to figure out myself. So even I got to find myself in life. You're going to end up having to find yourself at some point in time. And it's not just one time. It's going to be many times in your life. Garrett, I don't regret it at all. Being a prison guard is very dangerous, and by the time you get the pension there, you're pretty much broke up. So I don't think we'll be dueling trumpets there with Jay. I don't think that's going to happen. I know he did challenge me to a charity match, which I think it's ridiculous. I don't know what's with all these people calling these internet fights that are going to never happen. Well, the problem is that the problem isn't the fact that we give all these money away to these countries. It's very minuscule as far as to how much money we're bringing in. For example, just student loan interest by itself, our country brings in $120 billion here. That's not the problem. The biggest problem is our defense bill. I mean, it's bloated, And a lot of people will say, well, we need more weapons. No, when it comes to our military can crush anyone around the country there, I've sold over $1 million worth of body solid equipment before I stopped selling it in 2016. I've gotten back into it there and started back selling body solid equipment, but sales are very slow right now. But and my sales rep actually was Andy Huck, who originally he had some apprehensions because remember at that time when I started selling body solid, I was basically an internet troll. So he had apprehensions on getting me an account there. So exercise equipment was a big seller back in the day. I just don't know what happened. Even Factory Fitness Outlet, one of the main supply carriers of body solid equipment, they're not doing too well. Nobody's doing well. Why did I leave Verizon? I live in Piedmont, South Carolina, and because of COVID, nowadays you have to, in order to work at home, you have to have cable or fiber. I don't have either one of those. I will move eventually there, but even with that, I was going to leave Verizon anyway because I've been doing the same thing for so long, and I need to go find another path, really. So, I mean, it is what it is. I can always go back to Verizon or any other telecommunications company. One benefit of Verizon is if you've worked at Verizon, you can practically work anywhere in the telecommunications industry. I can even go work for Facebook. I can go work for practically any company out there. So, but I'm going to take it easy. I'm not going to even think about any specific jobs at least until next year, and that's only if my business ventures don't net out the living that I always like. I make enough right now in order to pay bills and everything like that. But, at the same time, I want to make a sufficient amount of money to where, I have a specific lifestyle that I like there. Dusty, yes, I went to many pagan gatherings here. I mean, I'll be honest, I'll be frank with you. Pagan gatherings are really no different than any other gatherings, especially picnics and stuff like that. Bugman, you have a body solid bench? Yeah, I mean, body solid makes great equipment there. That's why I wanted to sell that. I sold more, like I said, I sold millions of dollars worth of body solid equipment there, no doubt. I mean, that was over the course of. I sold body solid equipment from 2008 all the way to 2016, and then I just started back last year actually selling body solid equipment, but everything's coming in very slow. But good question, Pugman. Uh, as far as recruits are concerned, if you're talking about the military, a couple of weeks there in basic training will whip them in shape there. So, Andy, people like competitive activities there, and I watch soccer too. But America is a different country. Most other countries drink tea, we drink coffee. Every country has a different perspective on things here. We like American sports. We like football. We like baseball. Baseball is it's like apple pie and stuff like that. It's just what we grew up with there. Yes, Fernandez. You sometimes have to sacrifice everything, literally, in order to make things. When I started my business there, literally speaking, I had to pawn off equipment, TV, and stuff like that. At one point in time when I was starting my business, I actually had to sleep on the floor on an inflatable mattress. You got to do what you got to do in life in order to make something of yourself. Just remember that if you have a goal in mind, then do everything you can in order to make things happen there. Blaha would not have competed in a bodybuilding show because he's a power lifter. So, not only that, have you seen his physique anyway? It looks weird. What did we do at sacrifice pagan gatherings? We cut the throats of pigs there and drank the blood. I'm just joking. No, it was just a regular gathering, ate food, chatted, and stuff like that. Because I'm not Wiccan, I didn't take any parts in any type of rituals and stuff like that. But it would be no diff. The rituals are no different than going to church, which is exactly what it is here. Parabody is not a division of body solid there. As far as hammer strength equipment, personally, I prefer body solids commercial equipment. I think it provides a better value than hammer strength equipment there. Hammer strength equipment tries to be like Nautilus equipment there, you know. But when and back in the day when when I showed a lot of people think of body solid as just a home gym basis and cheap equipment, which is not true. Body solid has a wide range of commercial equipment there. Hammer strength, I'm not saying it's not good equipment or anything like that, but hammer strength tries to be too much like Nautilus equipment. I don't think Lenny used to live in a dumpster, but that house, but a dumpster would have been a lot cleaner than his apartment that he had, that's for sure. I would rather live in a dumpster than that apartment that he had. Ugh. Who do I think is the most overrated fitness personality on YouTube? Probably Savage. Uh, if you can call him a fitness personality. Anyone else after that? There's a lot of overrated fitness personalities on YouTube. Blaha would be in that category as well. So there's going to be there's too many names out there. I don't run a fitness channel. Mine's more or less a lifestyle channel. I will do fitness stuff there. I will talk about bodybuilding. But I want my channel to have a lot of variety to it there. So, Bill, global warming is for real, but it is over exaggerated at the same time. Who would win in a street fight? Mike Tyson. You have to remember, despite how old he is, if you're in a street fight, once that adrenaline kicks, you don't think about all your aches and pains or anything. You get into that zone, essentially. No, that doesn't mean that at all there, Bill. I'm not attracted to him whatsoever. Oh, no, Fernandez. And some of the stuff Blaha said about sacrificing and going 6 months to Chicago, that's debatable. Yes, the vegan gains in Frank Tofano saga, it actually began because Frank Tofano at the time was a carnivore and stuff like that. And carnivores and vegans have a really good special relationship. Blaha will never live in a dumpster because if he gets government assistance there, they would just put him up in an apartment there. And, once you're on the government's dick there, basically, as far as benefits are concerned, you practically never go off of it. Let's see. Reading questions. Did vegan gains have to have the right to call him out? Not really there. He has the right to train his clients the way it is. I think that he made too big of a deal about his clients' 405 bench press here. It was pretty poor form, but, and he did bounce it off his chest, but he did get it back on the other bar, so. It's not a safe way to do it, but, I'm sure that he has insurance there in case he gets hurt, as well as signed forms there. And not only that, when it comes to the clients there, sometimes clients want to attempt the biggest weights possible there, as far as setting goals are concerned, and I can really respect that. Bill, there's not really a transgender movement there. It's always been around, you know. Transgender people have been around for thousands of years, actually. Uh, I always tell people to be themselves. If you want to get into a dress, you want to wear heels, and you're a dude or so forth. There, as long as you're an adult person, that's perfectly fine. Although I get a little concerned about people, kids or so forth that have not developed enough to where they would know who they are basically. But that's actually debatable. And I've had these conversations with other transgender, with other gays and lesbians, and those conversations never went well. But I'm a man that has to stick to his guns, basically. What would I say is the movie of the year? I don't really watch too many movies, but you'll be surprised that one of my favorite movies was Cruella. That was actually a surprisingly good movie. I watched that while I was on a date, actually. And I'm like, this is a pretty good movie there. Uh, but, but as far as the movie of the year is concerned, that was a good movie. The best movie that I've seen is the Elvis movie. I love Elvis. Elvis is a great movie. Am I watching any new anime? No, I'm still watching some other current stuff there. That's a good thing about the anime. Japan's always coming out with new anime. I know there's another show that I'm looking forward to watch. I can't think of it right now. That's become really popular. Bill, I'm not saying that there's not a transgender movement, but there's always been a movement, a bowel movement. You have a Make America Great Again movement. There's all these movements out there. There's always going to be some sort of movement. Twitter and Facebook and all these other social media, there's always going to be someone that's outraged. There's always going to be something pushed. Black Lives Matter or so forth. There's always going to be some sort of movement there. As far as Steve Cook is concerned, I've seen some of his videos. I don't have any real problems with them there, so I don't really have an opinion too much there. There's so many fitness influencers out there that, I can't really keep up with all of them there. Well, I think Blaha can take all his weight equipment as long as he finds an apartment or so forth. I think he'll be fine on that end there. If not, well, I guess he'll be doing his videos with the reduced inventory, which I think would be a good thing. I think he has way too much equipment there. But of course he's doing these videos and everything like that, so no. Thoughts on Jay being Andrew Clore's cleanup? hmm. Yeah, I've seen the movie Pain and Gain. It was a decent movie. I don't think the writing was good. I mean, it's supposed to be based on a true story, but half of it was bullshit there, to be honest with you. Well, there are movements. Well, tribal is one thing. I think the biggest thing is this here. Whenever you're a kid and you grow up, you want to be a fireman, you say you want to be a fireman, you want to be president of the United States. And once you become an adult and you settle around in adult life and you realize that you're not going to be this fireman, you're not going to be the president of the United States here or anything like that, you try to find things to do with your life. You want to leave an impression, upon your life there, basically. That's why there's so many movements. Some people want to be part of something, whether it's a protest, whether it's a riot or so forth. There's people that just want to be part of any movement because they think it's cool. Animals are gay in the wild. they're not trans. Trans is a uh, that's a human type thing. But you have to remember, there's animals out there that are asexual. There, a lot of animals that will reproduce on its own. There, so uh, like amoebas, for example. They, in order to multiply itself, they don't require other, same as viruses or so. So yeah, animals are also gay in the wild as well. So I mean, that's been proven numerous times here. Yes, Bill, it was real there. I'm just saying that the movie of Pain and Gain was not was hardly accurate there. It was somewhat accurate, but that's the thing about historical movies. Take Glory, for example. They said that they were cheering the 54th. No, they were yelling at them saying, "Hey, I want this N-word killed," basically, and stuff. So, historical movies are not always accurate. I think the most accurate historical movie I saw was Gettysburg back in '93. You guys really should watch the movie Gettysburg from '93. That was really accurate there, and I really enjoyed that movie. Well, Dave Palumbo and John Romano rag on Steve Bleckman because Steve Bleckman fired them from Muscular Development. Uh, they not only got fired, but they didn't get anything. They didn't get no severance package because they were contractors. They don't get any unemployment or any benefits or anything like that. Now, I don't collect unemployment there except for maybe $1,000 or so forth there. And I didn't get a severance package from Verizon, but I still have all my stocks. And I do, because I worked over a year, I think I still get like a $5,000 bonus next year or so forth. 5 or 3,000, depending on how the stocks go. But they rag on Bleckman because Bleckman fired them. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's going into these streams and stuff there, so it doesn't surprise me a lot of fish have high estrogen levels there. That's what happens when you have water pollution. Not only that, there's also sorts of things like, there's a high level of mercury in fish and stuff like that there, so. Yes, it was indeed whitewashed there. I don't know why. Goodfellas was still a good movie. You have to remember, it's something can be based on a true story, but in most cases, when you tell the actual true story, it doesn't make for a good movie. Me and Romano have been at at each other's throats for almost 20 years there. I hate John Romano. John Romano hates me. So the feeling is mutual when it comes to that. What's the most racist thing that's ever happened to me? Uh well, I was attacked one time there or so forth, and I had to fight a bunch of guys off there, so forth. Uh well, that's part of life. You got to be a man about it. If someone picks a fight with you, you got to fight back there, whether you win or lose there. But I had to run away from that situation because there were simply too many people. And I came back with my friends and we beat the crap out of them there. But yeah, I got jumped. So part of life there. But you can't bitch about that. You got to be a man about parts of your life there. Remember, as a kid, and when you're going through life, I'm sure every one of you out there has had circumstances that's happened to you, and you just got to deal with it. There's always going to be some sort of circumstance. Yes, I was attacked only for being black there, you know. Yeah. Just for being black, I was attacked. You know, no. It is what it is there, you know. Vic Richards, in my opinion, is an idiot there. I've never liked him. He lied about being an IFBB pro by claiming that he won the Nigerian Nationals there. But no, I mean he had a great physique there, but when you go and claim yourself to be an IFBB pro and you're not an IFBB pro, you've not ever qualified for it. You know, that's not really cool. And Bob Chick, I mean, one person that really doesn't like Vic Richards is actually Bob Ciccarello, which I would agree with because he lied about being an IFBB pro just to sell products there. So. Well, James, I answered that earlier. I'm not sure if you got in just now, but the date went just fine there. You know, we had a lot of fun, so. Hmm. Reading comments, reading comments. Remember, folks, I'm here to answer any questions that you have for me. You don't have to pay me in order to answer questions here or so forth. But if you like what I'm doing, hey, drop a couple dollars there. You know what I mean? If not, just stick around. Make sure you support the channel. Make sure you're a subscriber to this channel. And just check out all the things. I'm going to be having a new forum pretty soon. And I'm going to be putting up banned videos that, there's about 20 videos that I actually have that YouTube made me take off there that I'm going to put on my new site there, vincegoodrum.com, which is in development. I have a web designer working on that. So a lot of good things are going to be coming on that. Quick pump, part of my family is Italian, actually. I'm part Italian, actually. Very itty bitty part Italian there. But as far I cook a lot of Italian food there, so I mean I have a good recipe for clam. I make a mean clam sauce there. It's a really good sauce here. And, I have my Sunday gravy, which takes me hours to make there. I've not made Sunday gravy in quite some time. James, if I had a choice, I would just walk there. I wouldn't take a road trip with either one of these idiots here. Let's see here. I'm smoking on... what did I say earlier? Like I said, tequila's getting to me. A Gilberto Oliva here is a reserve. It's Nicaraguan filler with an Indonesian wrapper. Thanks for the rainbow and the donation, Pug Man. You've taken really good care of me this month, and I definitely appreciate that. I've taken that amount of money and I've put it back into the business for everyone to enjoy. So I just want to really thank you for everything you've done, really. And yeah, being gay and all, I like rainbows. So, but you won't see me carrying a handbag full of them there. Honestly, Fernandez, I don't see Blaha having any reason to lie about being Native American and Jewish there. I could see him being Jewish there. I could see the, stuff like that. But I don't think he would have any reason to lie about it there. Well, Bill, you gotta smoke what you like there. If you don't like cigars, that's perfectly fine there. If you like weed, then smoke weed. Just have a mechanism in order to relax. You don't want to take all these prescription pills there and stuff like that. And that's what I tried to warn Richard about there, Vegan Gains, about taking. Doctors will prescribe you all these pills, and I think because he's in Canada, he has access to these. I guess one of the one of the side effects of our country having such poor health care is that, we don't have the type of access as in, other countries that do have free health care. I think depression meds just cover up real problems there. If you got problems, you need to deal with it like a man, like a real man does. Quick pump, I actually do have a number of cooking videos there on my channel. I just need to organize the playlist, so I need to find a time in order to do that. Garrett, I have to cover up your comment there, but, I've had it before, and stuff like that. It's, you got to be yourself in this day and age here, so... any type of sex itself there, regardless as the of anything, you're still gonna bust a nut and everything like that, whether it, and stuff. So, but again, you gotta go with what's really enjoyable, what you really want to do, the way you feel there. In other words, is the biggest thing there. What feels natural for you there. What things that feel natural for me may not feel natural for you. Just like cigars, for example. I love cigars. A lot of people hate cigars here, and stuff like that. They don't like the smell of cigar smoke. But that's the nature of human beings there. You gotta mix things around, of course. Here, you gotta not just mix things around. There are things you have to try and then other things you don't there. Don't try to be gay or something like that. There's a lot of these people out there, they watch all this TV and they think that they're gay, and then they actually do and they find out, whoa, I'm not gay, And I've been on dates before where people have found out that they're not gay, Didn't bother me one bit, if you know what I mean. I've had pipe tobacco before. I just don't like all the bitter fillers and stuff like that. Down here at the cigar clubs, there's people that smoke pipe tobaccos as well. So, like I said, you got to do what you like. Hey, Brian Fitness, I hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining the channel here. You're a little bit late, though. We still got an hour left, so feel free to ask me any questions here. He's reacting to my video. Well, I'll check it out once the show is. My show is focused on you guys here, and stuff like that. So I'll check it out once it's done. I don't want to cut out from the show to see what Richard is talking about and ignore the questions that I have there. That's something I can easily check out later. Locke, yes, Romanian deadlifts are really good for a lot of older lifters. It's also a lot safer than a barbell, and it's more convenient if you're working out at home and you don't have room for a barbell or so forth. Dumbbells are perfect, Malak, thanks again for the donation. I really appreciate that here. The $5 there. Haven't heard you say, yeah, you're right there. I've not said that in quite some time there. It's just something that goes along with any comedy video that I have. I've just not found an appropriate time to say that. I definitely, when I do the Halloween video or something like that, or a holiday, that's usually when I do the shove it up your candy ass type thing. But it's actually not candy ass, it's monkey ass, And that particular thing that I did, I used to do whenever I was a professional wrestler for a short period of time. Also, if you don't know, now you know. But it is a copy of The Rock there with a couple of variations here. Because you don't want to act like you're someone else here. That's the same when I say wrong in loud words. I did that. That's all a lot of stuff that I actually do on my channel that you hear like wrong, for example. That actually comes from my short wrestling career as a professional wrestler. It's up to Big Lenny to decide whether he wishes to do something else here. One good thing about Lenny is he does those live streams and he keeps up with his fans and stuff. So, well, Jack T, if you need some wisdom there, this is the perfect channel. Uh, you can always take my advice. It may not be applicable to your life or so forth there, but I try to do the best I can. Anton, you have a good night too here in Sweden there. Hope you've enjoyed the show. Make sure you come back and do the playback for the last 45 minutes here, of course. So, but it was a pleasure having you up here. Yeah, I agree with you on that there but again, that's Big Lenny's decision. If he's able to make an applicable living off doing live streams and sponsoring of supplements, then uh you know, that's one thing. There was a guy I worked at when I worked at Montgomery Ward. What he used to do is he used to make these miniature ladders for a supplier that made wooden fire trucks. He made about $40,000 a year. And back in 1995, that's actually a lot of money. And all he did was make miniature wooden ladders here. Little tiny miniature wooden ladders for these wooden fire trucks there. I wrestled in the late 90s, so there's none on YouTube. There are some on videotape actually. Uh but you have to remember I was a local wrestler. I was never big time there, so that it one day I'll probably come in. I'll probably if there's any videos out there, it's probably going to be me announcing and doing a play-by-play call on a wrestling match, which is what I did most of the time whenever I was actually on videotape rather than actually wrestling. I didn't wrestle much. I was mostly more or less a wrestling manager, an announcer, and an organizer of the events here. I was more or less on the business side of professional wrestling. No, I'm not Farouk. I got my own thing. I like saying wrong. Farouk can say damn, and in fact, that's actually copyrighted at this point in time, as well as Michael Buffer's Let's Get Ready to Rumble. Do you know all that stuff is actually copyrighted? So if I went and did that, technically, Buffer can actually sue me for that there. And that's the same with Farouk there, saying it there. I'll probably go to Delray Beach one of these days. I was gonna go there to run up with Aaron Singerman there, but of course he's in prison now, so that's not gonna happen there. Plus, I'm sort of on the outs for some certain reasons. I'll have to speak with them on things that were said about me or so forth. Was I a heel or babyface? Where I was wrestling, I was pretty much a heel. But once I got into the business side, it's pretty much neutral per se because you're no longer part of the storyline, basically. And an announcer is an announcer, and a person that calls plays for the most part are not going to be a heel and babyface. Now, that's in the case in major places like the WWE or Ring of Honor. But as far as local events are concerned, we never got that far, basically. We didn't get involved in the show. Our job was to put meat in the seats. It was to do a regular play call and call it the way it is. And in order to be an announcer, it's not just calling it. You have to know the exact wrestling moves in order to do that there. So it's not exactly an easy job if you're not familiar with the wrestling business there. You have to know the difference between a a suplex and a back body drop or so forth. And you have to also know the names of the moves. You also have to be careful as a type of moves you call, like you can call a sharp, there's certain cases to where you would call a move a sharpshooter over a scorpion deathlock, for example. Yes, I did hear about the Grand Theft Auto 6 leaks there. Oh, they did arrest him? That's no surprise there. But chances are all that information's already been leaked already, to be honest with you. It's not going to make a difference because 99% of the people are not even going to bother to look. They're just going to go and buy the video game anyway. So it doesn't really affect them at all. That's probably why Rockstar probably didn't really pay much attention to it there as far as leaking the games are concerned. There's always going to be someone that's going to try to make money in a nefarious way. What was my favorite wrestler in the late 90s? Here's the thing about the late 90s. Even with working in the industry itself, I was still a big WCW fan. But, of course, naturally, my favorite wrestler in the late 90s and still is Booker T and Stevie Ray. And, of course, everyone loves the Nature Boy Ric Flair. I love him, too, as well as Dusty Rhodes here. Dusty Rhodes is also one of my favorites. It was always cool. And if you ever went to one, whenever I was growing up, I went to the Mid-Atlantic Wrestling shows down at the Thomas Wolfe Auditorium in Asheville. You go down right to the shows there, you'd see Raging Bull Manny Fernandez, you'd see Dick Murdoch there and stuff like that. It was always a good time. And tickets were very inexpensive. It was like $10 or so it wasn't too bad. So Athens, I don't even entertain these little fight challenges because they never materialize whatsoever. I'm not going to go all the way down to Delray Beach and spend my money just in order to go fight someone. And again, if you recall my previous shows that I've had, fighting gets you nowhere. Yeah, I remember Ernie Ladd. Ernie Ladd was a very entertaining professional wrestler. He made a good transition from doing being in professional football over to wrestling. The same as Steve McMichaels there. Steve McMichaels, he's in really bad shape right now, so I wish the best for him there. But yeah, Ernie Ladd was very entertaining. Yeah, the source code was a big issue, but remember that code would only would be of importance to someone that would have the ability to use it. Most average people in this day and age wouldn't, even if they had the source code, they wouldn't know what the hell to do with it. Well, I'm not aware of Vince McMahon sexually assaulting any male wrestlers. There were a couple of incidents where Pat Patterson was accused of sexually assaulting. And then there was another one, I can't remember his name offhand, that was accused of the same thing. But I'm not aware of any rumors about Vince McMahon assaulting any male wrestlers there. I've actually never heard that happen before, so. I've watched only one Bruce Blitz on YouTube, one of his videos here. It's not something there. I didn't watch the Hardy Boys back in the 90s because, like I said, I was a big WCW fan. I didn't watch any WWF or at the time WWF. I didn't really watch that. That was something my brother liked. New Jack, he's now deceased. He took too many liberties with himself. He didn't really care about his own personal life there, and stuff. Literally speaking, even after he passed away, people were still trying to call him to do a show or so forth. And the reason why he got so many bookings is because he was willing to do anything in order to do the show there. And that's one of the reasons why he's deceased now, because he just didn't take personal care in himself there. There's one thing about wrestling, but if you have to do all these particular stunts like double moonsaults and stuff like that that puts you in serious peril, you're expected to do that each and every time, and that puts you at a more likely risk of getting hurt. Yeah, I like Steve Regal and Dave Taylor. The Blue Bloods is what they were called as a tag team there. The one thing I liked about them is they did the good old catch can wrestling there. That's one thing I always like, the good old catch can wrestling. Mat technicians and stuff like that. I'm not all big into these moonsaults and stuff like that. Yeah, NWO was the thing there back then. NWO for life there. That was one of the best things about the late 90s in WCW was the NWO. What messed it up was there was just too many people ending up being in the NWO. There was just practically everyone became NWO. That's what messed it up. It should have been a core group of only a couple of people, but once it started spreading out like rabbits screwing and everything like that, then that's when it lost its magic there. Do I think Jay Genova will ever return to YouTube? I don't really think so at this point in time. But anything can happen in this day and age. No, that was just as far as those rumors are concerned, it's just BS. It really is. It was made by jealous people that were upset that Shawn Michaels was getting all the bookings and he was getting all the accolades. The truth is, Shawn Michaels was a great wrestler there, and he earned everything that he got, basically. Yeah, I was sad about the euthanasia thing for Job Abdu, and I think the reason why he did that is because he had a reputation to keep there. And the thing about it is that when you get older, things happen, but at the same time, he was dying of cancer. So, he decided to go out on his own terms. And, that was the decision that he made as far as himself is concerned. So, the best thing to do on that, Fernandez, don't think about how someone died. Think about how they lived there. It's more important to think of someone as far as to how they lived rather than how they died there. Yeah, when you do a leg drop or so forth there, and because you're always landing on your butt, that ricochets across through your spine. So, yeah, if you do, especially a diving headbutt there, that messed up a lot of people, like the British Bulldog, the original British Bulldog, as well as Chris Benoit. We know what happened to that. Yeah, Alex Wright he's still a great wrestler. He's still actually wrestling. I think he runs a wrestling school nowadays there, but he's actually still wrestling, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, NWO was just everywhere. That's what killed it there. It became a McDonald's. It was special when it came out, and it was unique when there was the core group, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Hulk Hogan, and stuff like that. And a couple other people like Conan, that was perfectly fine, as well as Scott Steiner. But once they started bringing in all these people and stuff, that's when it turned to shit. Who is my favorite misfit? Genova. Genova, hands down there. I like Genova. The thing I like about Genova is people try to take advantage of him, but Genova always got him back there, and stuff here. People treated him like he was disabled, but Genova is a lot smarter than most people think there, and he used that to his advantage, and that's good. If someone's disabled, you shouldn't go and automatically just feel sorry for him or think that he's helpless or so forth. That's a problem with this country here. When someone sees someone disabled in a wheelchair, people think that they can't do shit, basically. But Genova was a lot smarter than people took him there, Uh, but that is my favorite misfit. My favorite UFC fighter. Oh boy, let's see. I would honestly have to say Chuck Liddell was one of my favorite UFC fighters here. You know, had a lot of energy, a lot of talent there, and I always liked the Diaz brothers. That whenever you saw the Diaz brothers, they were some real street fighters. They would throw some blows. They would, and most people didn't want to fight the Diaz brothers because they knew they were going to bleed a little bit and they were going to get beat up. So, even if they won the fight, they lost. Even if you won a fight against a Diaz brother, you really lost it because you would have gotten a lumps. You would have gotten a lot of lumps on your head there. And Nick Diaz, yeah, whenever I think it was Nick or Nate, I'm not sure. Whenever he called out Conor McGregor and started calling him the motherfucker and stuff like that, that was real funny there. So, I mean, but that was just some straight, real talk. In other words, so. Mm. Yeah, KS. He's a lot smarter than people take him for. Like I said, just because someone is disabled and they're in a wheelchair or so forth, they're human beings. There, it doesn't mean that they're dumbasses or anything like that. So if you run into someone that's disabled or so forth, treat them like you would treat a regular person. There. Don't go out there and just try to automatically. It's like it's like a nursing home, for example. Someone sees someone that's 80 years old and they think they're helpless or so forth. A lot of these 80-year-old, 70-year-old people, they were a lot cooler in their younger days than you were. So. Especially a lot of these World War II vets and stuff like that, and these Korean War and Vietnam War people, they were a lot cooler than most people in this day and age because they really lived there. They had very interesting lives. If you ever you should go to a nursing home. Honestly, sit down and hear a couple war stories, and stuff like that. But yeah. People make a lot of assumptions about people just from looking at them or so forth. So, Fernandez, there's no invasion from the migrants. Here's the way I look at migrants. The reason why people like Nancy Pelosi wants migrants in this country is because California has a lot of these orchards and oranges there. So they bring these migrants in order to pick all these oranges and other fruits and stuff like that, and they ain't got to pay them anything, and stuff like that. Republicans are going to be the opposite of it there. I mean, migrants the thing about migrants is both sides play them to their own personal benefits, and that's just kind of wrong there, I think most migrants should try to enter the country legally or so forth there. But you have to remember, I think we only live in the United States. We only occupy maybe 18% of the United States, so there's plenty of room for people to grow. But both political parties exploit migrants for their own personal interests. Vic Richards had a great physique, but I didn't like Vic Richards here, because he was a liar. Well, Lesnar never fought Fedor because remember, Fedor was not part of the UFC. He fought in a different. Fedor fought in a different organization there than Lesnar, so that's very doubtful. David Cormier, this was a different time period there, so it's just a matter of circumstances. It's a matter. And you have to remember when it comes to, and this is the same with boxing matches and stuff like that. Ann Wolfe was one of the toughest boxers out there. But she never got a chance to fight Layla Ali because she priced herself out of agreements in order to fight against Layla Ali. That happens a lot there. Whenever fights are organized, someone wants more money than the other ones, and they never come to fruition. It's not about, okay, I want to go fight someone. You got to organize it. And you got to say, hey, is the money good for you or not? But yeah, Dusty, people tend to judge a book by its cover there. So, yeah, older people probably had more fun in their youth because they didn't spend all their time playing video games and stuff like that. Nowadays, people spend most of their lives playing video games. Older people, they got out in the sun, they played outside like I did when I was growing up and stuff, which I still go out and take a nice drive and everything like that. Nowadays, it's all virtual video games and stuff. People nowadays live in their televisions, they live in their cell phones and stuff like that. They always got their head down and stuff like that. Even I have a habit of looking at my cell phone or so forth, which you notice I've not done that because I want to chat with you folks there. So I think it's inappropriate for me to be playing on my phone while I'm up there having people there. Whenever I do these live streams, you're like guests in my house there. You know what I mean? I'm inviting you into my house to sit back, hang out with me, have a nice cigar. I hope you got a cigar. If you got a cigar, I'm glad you're smoking it with me. I've invited people in my house to, hang out with me till midnight there. I'm not going to go spend my time in life in the phone there. But yeah, older people had a lot more fun in their youth there. Not saying kids don't have fun in this day and age or anything like that, but I think whenever you spend all your time in video games and on the phone and stuff, you miss out on smelling the flowers there, in other words. Well, Fedor did fight in Bellator, but remember he was a Russian, so he mainly fought in a lot of Russian Federation Russian organizations there. Not so much as I don't really consider him really as a Bellator fighter. Yes, M1 Global here. He only fought briefly in Bellator, and Dana White tried to say that he got cut, and Fedor corrected him saying he never fought for them. He fought for like HBO or so forth there. Dana White over exaggerates things. Fedor really never fought really for the UFC for the most part. So yeah, I never considered Fedor a UFC fighter, a Bellator fighter. Mm. Reading comments. Well, Dusty, I mean, people still go around town and play basketball. If I drive down through Piedmont Highway, there's a swimming pool next to a basketball court, and there's plenty of people that play. Just not as much to the extent as it used to be, and that includes swimming pools as well. I mean, it's just a sign of the times there where everyone spends their life virtually. Uh, yeah, I guess you could say that, Angel. Butt sniffing and eating, I guess, here. Do you think a prime Mike? Oh, absolutely. Mike Tyson would be destroying people in the heavyweight division in his prime. Mike Tyson in his prime was a destroyer. I mean, he was literally a destroyer. And he still got some quick hands there. I don't think Andrew Tate is a closeted homosexual there. No, he's not one there, so. All right, folks, 24 minutes. Get your questions in. You want to put some money in the collection plate, you're free to do so as well. Let's see. Well, the reason why Blaha's aesthetics are so bad is because of genetics here. No matter how much you lift or so forth, you can't beat genetics. The reason why I was never too successful in bodybuilding was genetics. I have long arms and I have a short torso, you know. It is what it is. In order to be a successful bodybuilder, or you just have to have the genetics there. That's the same with powerlifting. You have to have good bone structure and stuff like that. You got to have that size or so forth. Some people can put size on just by looking at food, and some people, and that's the same thing. Some people can get shredded and still eat mounds of fried assorted foods and high calorie foods, and their metabolisms are so high they just burn it off there. Andrew Tate may have had bad relationships, but I think that's more of his fault there, rather than anything. So, given everything that we've heard and the way he talks and his attitude towards women, it doesn't surprise me that he's had bad relationships here. It doesn't surprise me at all. Pastor Vince. What happened to Louis Marco? Good question. I don't have any clues. Some people will come up here and do a lot of YouTube and stuff like that, and then they disappear and then they come back. Sort of like Nicolato Avocado. He's disappeared. Now he's back to making videos and trying to kill himself by eating all that food. So, Michael Thurston. You can make an argument for that there. SA, I think that question has been beat to death there. If you don't know already, then you don't know. Louis Marco has done some videos, but not to the extent that he used to. He used to put out a whole bunch of content, and stuff. I think its content is decreased there, but at the same time, he's still getting a lot of views there. So, look, I don't do any gay for pay or anything like that. I don't do OnlyFans or anything like that. That hurts your personal dignity. You shouldn't really do that type of stuff there. I don't know why Vegan Gains does it. I'm not sure why Frank Tefano showed up on video, but I think it's just the attitude of kids these days that they look for this quick money, they look for these quick accolades, and they don't realize that all of this will follow them for the rest of their lives there. Dale, in order to get more mass there, you just got to increase your caloric intake. Let's see. Reading comments here. Nicolato Avocado will keep doing it because he has this big giant apartment and stuff like that, and he'll do it until he drops dead. I'm afraid here. So, Tiny Dream, I'm not terrified of Jen Willett there, but at the same time, there's a lot of legalities that prevents me from releasing that information there. And I've spoken with my attorneys about it. And simply put, it's just not going to happen there. So, Mega Man, remember, I would rather be homeless than disrespect my own body there. It's better just to have a job than to do this type of easy money. Because remember, money is only temporary. And when it comes to these OnlyFans, I mean, you see all these porn stars, right? They can't do porn forever, you know? And once they're all dried up and everything's been taken out of them, then they're going to be, and because they don't know how to do anything else in life, and they don't have any job skills or accreditations or anything like that, they go through the wage side. You find a lot of them committing suicide and stuff like that. Me, I've had regular jobs there and stuff like that. I can go anywhere I want. I worked at Verizon. If ever my business ventures don't work by next year or so forth, I can always pick up another job. I'm not too worried about it. I've made a lot of money over the ages. I've got a hell of a lot of savings and stuff like that. It's important to develop your job skills and stuff. Yes, I'm aware that the video is cutting out there. I'm not sure what's going on here. Give me just a minute. Oh boy. I don't know what's happening. YouTube is just acting up today here for some odd reason there, and it's really affecting the channel itself here. Mega Man, that as far as prison rapes are concerned, despite what you see on TV, I've seen it happen before, but it's actually a rarity, and stuff. It's a rarity. And I think I've already explained why that happens. Usually that happens when someone borrows money from other inmates and they can't pay them back. And, they can't go out and get themselves a job or anything like that. So, what is going on? Oh, boy. Yeah, the live stream is it's cutting in and out there. Like I said, I was having trouble with it whenever I was testing it out there. It's I've checked my systems and they're fine. It's just YouTube. I hope you guys work with me on that. Real sorry about the channel cutting out a couple of times here, so yeah, the last couple of days comments have been messed up there. Yeah, I mean, I mean, sometimes YouTube will act up like that. There's nothing I can really do about it there. Uh, Even if I switch to another connection there, it would still be doing the exact same thing. Well, like I said, I'm gonna try to speak with Jen again about the information there, and we'll see what actually happens here. So. No, it's not Piedmont Wi-Fi. It's just YouTube acting up tonight. Because you see on my screen, it's actually saying excellent connection, but I actually know better. But we'll get it fixed. James, I don't watch any of these predator catchers here, and I think they really do a disservice because a lot of times whenever they're doing these predator catching and stuff like that, they're doing it illegally to where even if they catch them, it's the evidence that's involved with it, it usually gets dismissed there. As a result, these people go free. So, they're trying to do a good service. I understand that there, but they should let the authorities take care of things like that. Yes, I've been in a couple of supplement review videos here. Got to make a living there, so. Yeah, Collie Muscle's been doing a lot of eating fried chicken, which can be sort of like a menstrual thing. There's nothing that brings more attention or more views than a black guy eating fried chicken on YouTube there. And Kali Muscle should know the connotation of eating a fried chicken on live and stuff like that. People are going to watch it because it inerts their inner racism there, and stuff. Yes, I did watch Oz on HBO there. Most of the stuff was fake there. It was mostly entertainment. There's a lot of there's just a lot of stuff that just didn't make any sense. Mostly everybody would be locked down 23 hours a day with all the actions that they committed. A person that goes and kills someone and does all the things that did, like Schillinger. Once they do it one time, they would have never been out of the pods again. It just wouldn't happen. Do sleep supplements work? Boy. Melatonin works there. That's really something. That's the only thing that I take there, or so forth. But a lot of these other ones there, they can be quite dangerous here. Hey, Oscar, you have a good night as well, and have a good weekend. Thanks again for tuning in to the midnight hour and stuff. So, yeah, Ollie Muscle has been nutty with his diet, and Mega Man, yes, he's gonna probably have a heart attack again. But like I said, just like everyone else, like Nicolato Avocado, they're chasing the money, And Richard, Vegan Gains, he chases the money by doing all sorts of crazy things on there as well. Like I said, I'd rather be broke. I'd rather be poor. I'd rather go back to unloading trucks at Walmart or working at Family Dollar than to pervert myself with these types of activities, I have a lot more dignity for myself. I respect my body more than to do things like that. Fernandez, Voyagers actually watch people like Kali Muscle, as well as Nicolato Avocado. It's called shock value. Mark Lobliner has a wide range of supplements here. At Tiger Fitness, he sells a lot there. Man, he runs a pretty good business here. Yes, Ancient, keep your dignity. Keep your dignity. It's like this channel before. Like I said, I do this for you guys out here. Chat with me every week. It doesn't matter how much money comes in, and stuff like that. Money will come when it comes here, people, okay? But I'm always going to respect my guests. Like I said, I like doing this because, I like hanging out with you guys there, all right? What can you say, And I like answering people's questions there, Every week on the Midnight Run, it's like I'm inviting you guys to my house here. That's the way I want to treat it there. You know what I'm saying? New Era Easy Money, yes. It's just the stupidity of the internet, the shock value and everything to where... what was my least favorite job? I would say I did telemarketing back in the late 90s. That was very popular. But I took up a job that I worked for 2 weeks where I was doing telemarketing for chimney sweeping services. That was my least favorite job there. They actually fired me, which didn't matter or anything like that because that place shut down for fraud anyway. Turns out they weren't actually doing any chimney sweeping to begin with there, As soon as I left that, I actually went to Home Gold there. They paid a lot better, of course. They did an Enron as well there, but at least I got actual real money out of it. That place was garbage. They only paid me like $9 an hour anyway, so... Kali will be out of Mexico pretty soon there. I wouldn't see him staying there. I wasn't so much of aware. I saw his video to where he said he moved to Mexico. I'm like, okay, fine. A lot of people don't spend a lot of time in Mexico. They may go back and forth from the United States here. And Mexico is very convenient. A lot of people live in certain areas to where, they're only like a 5 or 10 minute drive from the airport, and they'll just fly right back over the border or so. Yes, Mega Man, I do wonder what they'll be doing in the next 10 years here. YouTube was not going to be around forever. It's going to get to the point just like eBay. eBay was the Wild West at one time. I sold a lot of anabolic steroids and a whole bunch of stuff there. But nowadays it's taken over by the corporations. It's going to be the same here with YouTube. YouTube is not a viable source of revenue. It's just not going to be. I'll use it as an advertising tool if necessary, but that's just about it. When I finally get my website set up, vincegoodrum.com, completely, I'll feel a lot more comfortable then because I'll have control of my content and I can decide, what I can do with it, because I'm going to do a bunch of things. I'm going to put an online store in there to sell exercise equipment and supplements. I'm going to put a forum in there where you people can talk freely without having to be worried about the YouTube police or anything like that. I'm going to host videos. I already have a VPS server for my systems there, so I got plenty of room for that. No, Blaha can't take me in a fight there. But again, you have to remember, folks, here, fighting doesn't solve anything, and you never know what happens. A person can whip out a gun at you at any point in time. Yeah, the stream is crashing here. Let me try to... Yeah, it's getting on my nerves, people. I have no clue as far as to why YouTube is messing up like this here for. I mean, it really doesn't. It's just, it's insulting and revolting. So, but hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully it doesn't cut out again like that. So. What the hell? Well, Chuck E. Cheese, I bought a brand new computer, and stuff there, so, which is a lot more powerful than my other computer, so, not sure. Like I said, it's just YouTube tonight. I think a lot of people's videos are doing that, so, that's live stream for you. Tiny Dream, I'm never going to go on gear again. I've not been on gear in over 20 years. I stopped taking any androgenic supplements here. That's pro hormones over a decade ago, too. So it's just not worth it. I have nothing to prove. I have nothing to gain. I am going to lean out there. I'm just going to do it the slow, and I'm going to do it the right way. Folks, you got 5 minutes, so unless this stream is disconnected from you and you're still online, go ahead and get these questions out there. So, and like I said, if you want to put something in the collection plate, that's not a bad idea neither. Out of water. The future of bodybuilding is everything is going back down. In other words, that's why you have this classic physique. For example, the classic that's so I think we've already reached the extent of the mass monsters, and the physiques are going to go back down. A lot of these bodybuilders, they're seeing other people die, and they don't want to end up that way. So, bicep shot, I think that's reasonable. Let's see. Now remember, I'm not gonna, how am I gonna go to sleep, Pugman? Believe me, I've drunk so much coffee over the years, I can easily sleep there. But I'm probably gonna stay up probably until 2 a.m., get a little bit extra work done, and then I'm gonna go to bed. But yes, I can I can have a double espresso and I can fall asleep like a baby there, Pug Man. No, that's pretty. For me, that's absolute. That's nothing. That's non-negotiable. To answer your question, I don't think anything of JetBlue and Spirit merging. I mean, people merger all the time there. Remember, I worked at Alltel, and they closed up because Verizon took over Alltel. And to answer your question, Ancient, Lenny and Jay gear up because they don't know anything else. That's the one thing that those are two people that want to stay big even when they're older, and that's going to eventually affect them. Although, to be honest with you, they're certainly outliving a lot of other bodybuilders these days, so I guess that counts for something. Hey, thanks again for dropping by too, Angel. I'll see you next week there as well. Do I like French roast coffee? No, I like espresso coffee. I do keep French roast, but that's for my coffee maker. If I have guests over and I need to make a lot of coffee, that's when I'll break out the French roast there. All right, folks, 2 minutes left. 2 minutes. Let's get a little bit of music playing here. P for P, I'm going to keep up the live streams there. Like I said, it's always good to hang out with people. The thing about it is it's Friday. I'm going to have a cigar and I'm going to have a little bit of drink there. Why not do it with you folks? Answer a couple questions here. Andy, I've done cocaine before, but that was back in the late 90s whenever I was a kid. You when you get older, you live and learn. Diet soda's fine, but again, just like anything else, you got to do it in moderation. Hey, Dusty, take care. Thanks again for tuning in. Well, yes, I've been recommended. It's good that you tuned in there, Fernandez. I'm going to be setting up other live streams here once I get those organized. So I'm going to be doing more than one a week or so forth there. I'm also going to have like a movie night as well. So, folks, it is midnight. Thanks again for tuning in to the Midnight Run. Make sure you... if you haven't subscribed there, subscribe to the Vince Goodrum channel. I'll be putting up a link for a couple of my websites, my business there. And, as always, every single day, I always have a video on something there, with the exception on Sunday. Sunday is the Lord's Day, and it's also football season as well. So again, folks, you guys take care. Peace and soul.